I'm back with another video. This is Growing Up Hip Hop, Season 5, Episode 6. First, let me apologize that you guys are getting this episode so late. It's just like, when I went home on Thursday, I crashed. So, I didn't even watch Growing Up Hip Hop on Thursday or anything. Like, I just watched it Friday night, and after I watched it, I watched 2 other shows, and I just crashed. So I'm doing the video now. Hopefully you guys still, watch it, even though it's a couple of days late. So let's get into it. This episode basically starts off where the last one left off. Twist is questioning TeeTee about liking Sam, and she storms off. And later on, TeeTee goes over to Egypt. She acts like she wants to have a conversation with Egypt, but it's not really much of a conversation. And then Egypt was like, well, I know you don't like Sam. And TeeTee was like, okay, cool. And she walks off. And I'm like, that's not a conversation. You didn't solve anything. You just walked away. And there was no solution to whatever they had going on. Boogie meets with his rehab partner, and they are basically talking about the business and what he needs to do to be successful in the business of owning a rehab. And then he goes into talking about his experience of being a recovering drug addict, and how things were for him as a drug addict. So his dad comes to meet him at the place, and he tells his dad, that he bought the house, and his dad's asking him about his finances. And I'm like, well, he's an adult, so let him make his decisions, or let him make his mistakes. But at the same time, I feel where his dad is coming from, because he's trying to make sure that his son is not getting scammed or anything like that. But at the end of the day, he's an adult, and an adult needs to be able to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes and not make those mistakes again. So I think, like, even though his heart is in the right place, he needs to just like maybe back off and let his son figure it out for himself. No, but he did answer his dad and tells him, what he's doing, what he plans on doing with the money before buying the house and opening the rehab. His dad didn't really show any emotions, but I think that was because I think he's happy for him, but I think he's just trying to figure out the money part of it, like how much did Boogie put up, how much did the other man put up, and he says that he's worried that Boogie will get scammed. And he tells Boogie that he wants to look at the paperwork to make sure everything is legit, and Boogie's like, okay. And then they go into a conversation about Ava, and Boogie tells him the reason why Ava wrote the declaration, and he was telling Boogie that he didn't feel like that was right, and that she should not have done that, and he doesn't like that it's getting in the way of him being a father. And so I'm just like, this is a sticky situation, because first, she as his daughter, like, maybe she feels like some things that he's done were at a disadvantage for her or hurt her. But at the same time, you parent your kids differently, especially if the little girl Tallulah is younger. People change. So maybe the way he parented you is going to be different from the way he parented your little sister. But they're claiming that the little sister cries when she has to go to her dad, and all of these things like that. And and he's just not happy, because he said he's being accused of being a bad father. And Boogie, he's trying to stay neutral in the whole situation, but he's not able to stay neutral in the situation. But he just says, like, he said that his sister feels like she's stuck in the middle, and his dad says she wouldn't be stuck in the middle if she didn't put herself in the middle, because when she chose to write the declaration, she basically stuck herself in the middle of everything. So they just go back and forth about the situation, and they come to the conclusion that they should have a sit down. And I agree, everyone needs to sit down, and so it's not he say she say, it's not all going back and forth or whatever. Everybody can sit down and have a conversation about excuse me, about what's going on with this and how they can come together as a family and figure everything out. Briana FaceTimes TeeTee, and Briana tells her that she wants to meet to talk about Egypt, and she agrees to meet with her. And like, I understand they care about Egypt, and that was just basically the whole gist of their conversation. And I understand that they both care about Egypt, and but at the same time, I feel like everybody needs to just back off, because the more you pressure someone not to do something, the more they're gonna want to do it. So if everybody feels like Sam is such a bad person, but Egypt is seeing him through rose-colored glasses, and she doesn't think he can do any wrong, them trying to convince her not to get engaged to him is only going to make her want him more. So I think everybody should just back off and just leave it where it is, like Pep told them. Just leave it. So last episode, Angela agreed to go out with Boogie on a date, and Angela and Boogie are having their date, and he's late, and she's not too happy about that. When they sit down, the interaction is a little weird. I think the vibe is off. I think Angela has one idea of what this date is, and Boogie has another idea of what this date is. I think Angela is on this date more as a friend, and Boogie is like actually interested in her. And so he asked her, what is she he asked her if she's looking for anyone, and she says not. She's open to it, but she's not really looking. She's more focused on her son and being a single parent. And she asked him the same, and he basically just said that he can't keep a girl. And he also said that he had a pregnancy scare. One of the girls said that they thought that they were pregnant by him. So they basically, you know, having that first date type of conversation, you know, getting to know each other. Well, they already know each other, but getting, you know, a little more deep into what, you know, is going on with each other. So she asked him like what happened after she left the party, because she left before everyone else did. And he basically told her about the Sam and TeeTee debacle, and we're not going to keep going into that. Angela just said the same thing I said. She doesn't think that TeeTee likes Sam. Nobody thinks TeeTee likes Sam, really, except Sam. He's the only one that thinks that. And Egypt had said her little things or whatever, but then at the beginning of this episode, she told TeeTee that she doesn't think that TeeTee likes Sam. And she tells him that Boogie was like, she asked him why he was sweating, and he was like, I'm nervous. And she was like, why are you nervous? This isn't a date, we're just hanging out. So like I said, I think Angela has one idea of what this is, and Boogie has a whole different idea. So TeeTee is talking to her cousin, Egypt's brother, about the meeting that she's about to have with Briana about Egypt and Sam's engagement. Sam, you know, then they cut to Sam. Sam is playing pool with his dad, and he has on an eye patch. And the reason why he has on this eye patch is because him and his friends were playing with BB guns, which, whatever. Him and his friends were playing with BB guns, and everybody else wore protective eyewear, and they told him to wear protective eyewear. He's like, I don't need it, and he got shot in the eye. So it's just, his dad says that he was still a child, and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty childish if they tell you to put on, like, okay, everybody goes, you know, plays with paintball guns and BB guns or whatever, but you always wear a protective eyewear. That was stupid of him not to have on protective eyewear. Just dumb. His dad, you know, basically say he needs to start taking things more seriously, and he tells his dad that he's going to propose to Egypt, and his dad, you know, is basically saying, how are you going to support her? He was like, they were having a man-to-man conversation. He was like, before Egypt came along, you were having 3 to 5 shows a month or whatever he said, And now that Egypt is in the picture, you're not even doing shows. He's not really saying that Egypt is stopping him from doing the shows. It's just that Sam's focus has shifted from what he should be doing to Egypt. Excuse me. Instead of focusing on the music and trying to make a career out of it like he was doing before, he's all about Egypt, which is okay. You should be about your partner, all about your partner to a certain extent. But at the same time, you should also be elevating yourself as well, and not just stagnant at a certain point. It's just not moving at all. So his dad tells him that he has to be able to support Egypt and not the other way around. You know, and his dad is just going in on him and not letting up on him. And I think that's exactly what Sam needs. Sam needs a dose of reality. He needs to know that him depending on Egypt is not okay. And Egypt doesn't even really have a job herself. Her parents, you know, she's living off of what her parents give her, and maybe a check from growing up hip hop, but not much. So how can she support both of them? And then he has 2 kids, and his dad was asking him, are you really ready to make a 21-year-old an instant mother? And he was saying that Egypt loves his kids and this, that, and the other. And one thing I can say about Egypt and Sam, they defend each other to the fullest. They will not let anybody talk about the other. They will totally defend each other. They showed a little clip. They showed a little small clip of Egypt and Angela talking in the gym. And, you know, Egypt says that she's ready to get married. And Angela's like, are you sure? You're only 20. You know, you don't want to give it some time. But my thing, like I said before, I think that just because someone gets engaged does not mean that they have to get married. They can be engaged for a year or 2. They don't have to get married right away. But at the end of the day, it's her decision and it's his decision what they want to do. It doesn't matter what anyone else has to say about the situation. It's their decision. TeeTee goes to meet with Briana. So far, so good. Until this guy Troy shows up. And Troy is, I think he used to be either Peppa's assistant or Peppa's hairstylist, one or the other. And apparently he stole some money. Allegedly he stole some money from Peppa. And TeeTee was not happy about it. And Briana was like, she didn't know, and she apologized. She didn't mean to cause any drama or whatever. But TeeTee, and that they should just get to the matter at hand of talking about Egypt, because they all care about Egypt. But TeeTee was not too happy about it. And so Sam goes to talk to Pep, and she asks him about his eye, and he told her the story, just idiotic. And, you know, and he also shows her his eye. The conversation moves to him in Egypt, and Pep for a second got scared because she thought he was going to tell her that Egypt was pregnant. And he was like, oh, no, not yet. And I was like, please, no, you already got 2. Right? Wait on that. And she's too young. Anyway. But he asked her for her permission to ask Egypt for her hand in marriage. And she says yes, but she tells him that Egypt's dad is probably going to be another story, and so he has to go through her. And she also tells him that they need to wait at least a year before they get married. So she's okay with them being engaged as long as they have a kind of long engagement and don't just rush into getting married. TeeTee is still not happy that Troy is sitting here with her and Briana. But for the sake of Egypt and saving Egypt, she says that she will sit down with Troy and Briana, just put the differences aside for a second for the sake of saving Egypt. Okay? So they basically all feel that Sam is not good for Egypt, but I say it's not your business. It's not your business. Why do you care? I understand they all, don't get me wrong, I understand they all love Egypt. I totally, totally, totally understand that. But at the same time, you cannot run a person's life. She's basically an adult. Let her make her mistakes. Let her learn from her mistakes. And you go mind your own business. So they're talking and they say that they feel like Sam is controlling Egypt and that he's pulling her away from her family. And apparently this is not the first time that Sam has accused someone of liking him, because he said that Briana, at one point he was saying that Briana liked him and Briana wanted him. And so I don't know. This situation, I just feel like everybody, needs to mind their own business. So TeeTee goes on to ask Troy and Briana to get dirt on Sam that they could basically take to Egypt. And that's basically how the episode ended. I don't think this is going to be good at all. We're going to find out what happens in episode 7. I just think that this is not going to turn out the way that they want it to turn out. I think it's going to be a big mess. But I'm going to leave it there. I don't want to make this too long. I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, if no one else tells you that they love you, Ashere loves you.